everybody, I'm Anna, I'm one of the two mythical unicorns. It is great to have you here. Today I will be talking about genres and writing genres, I guess. But for me, when I'm writing, it has always been clear that I'll be writing fantasy. It's always been obvious to me because I love fantasy and that is what I'm interested in. I bet that everyone who kind of wants to write has heard the advice, write what you know. And there are great people out there who have done that have had experiences and have had lives, and they've taken those experiences from that life and written beautiful and amazing books and done something great. And for me, what I know is fantasy, because that is what I read like 80% of the time, because I try to read other things too. But so fantasy is my genre, and I find it really interesting that everywhere, wherever, if it's a bookshop or just talking about movies or whatever, you always put fantasy and sci-fi, or sci-fi and fantasy, those two together. And I find that really interesting and weird, because the two of them are so different from each other. Because fantasy, that is magic. When weird things happen, they have an explanation that is magic. That is why things happen. And in sci-fi, the explanation is science, because science fiction, you know, it's in the genre name, science. And they differ so widely. And for me, it's like, I'm a huge fantasy fan. I read tons of different fantasy and I write different kinds of fantasy. It's both high and low and urban. It's like all the fantasy. And then we have sci-fi. And there's only a small part that I like, because it's such a different genre. Because I don't like space. A lot of sci-fi is in space, and it's a lot of computers, and I don't get computers, and it's robots, and yeah, it's just so different. And what kind of genres you should be writing in also differs from country to country, because we all know that fantasy is a big deal. Like, we have Harry Potter, we have The Lord of the Rings, we have The Hunger Games, Maze Runner, Twilight. It's fantasy and it's doing great, and it's both books and movies, and it's great. But in Sweden, not so much. We do crime and we do children's literature, which is why I'm moving towards the English language, because in Sweden fantasy is not a big thing. I think it's getting bigger, or maybe it's just me getting in touch with more people who like fantasy, but otherwise it's just, yeah, we do crime and we do children's literature, and that's it. If you want to be big, you do crime and thrillers, because that is what we do. That might affect what you decide to write. Like, for what market are you writing? Are you writing for your like domestic market? What is popular there? And is it important for you to just write what is popular, or do you want to write what you like and what you're interested in? Or do you want to mix and middle? And some genres work for some authors and some genres don't work for authors. There is Nicholas Sparks, who has written really good books like The Notebook, Remember Me, The Lucky One, Safe Haven. But at first he wrote fantasy, and that did not go very well for him. But now he has written, I don't know how many romance, romance books that have done great, and they have become movies. And but the fantasy did not work, really. And then there are authors who do several different genres very well. Maybe Nicholas Sparks did very well in fantasy, I don't know, because I haven't read it. It was just an example that he did very well in one genre and not that well in the other genre. And then we have Rainbow Rowell, who has written mostly like... Crap, I lost the word. Michelle, you know what word it is. Can you just insert? She has written. But she's also tried fantasy, and I loved Carry On. So sometimes you can do a little bit of everything, I guess. And when you just write, what genre you choose should just be up to yourself. Because I've tried writing in other genres than fantasy. It's not good. Like short stories, yeah, that's fine. But telling a whole book, yeah, no, I'm not doing great at that. I finished one and it was horrible. Another thing about the fantasy genre, one of my friends did an observation that, and I find this really interesting, that in fantasy, so most, at least here in Sweden, I can't speak for any other countries, most of the time fantasy that are written by men, male authors, that is in the adult section, that is in the fantasy adult section. And then fantasy by women, female authors, that is put in the young adult section. Now why is that? Because let's face it, like Sarah J Maas, do we really want younger people to read that? Because that has some sex scenes in it that are quite describing. Is that like what we're promoting to younger people? Shouldn't that be to adults? Yes, I thought. But yeah, I think that was it. That was just some thoughts on the subject, and I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having a great day, and until next time, bye!